Karthik channel we go now, because we don't have a whole lot of time, and we kind of overtook and started to do the dictation, and so here we go. So we wish to welcome everyone to this lovely eclipse. Oh, how fun. And it is true that some of you may be having a sensation of being kind of maybe not split, but a little fuzzy perhaps. And we would suggest that many people's energy is quite big right now in response to all of this, and just, it's a key event and things like that. So if you're feeling fuzzy, that's nice. We come here because there may be some who are going to have physical symptoms. This one is already having them. So we wish to explain a couple of things about this energy and how it can be perceived by the physical body, and how, first of all, these symptoms can be mitigated a little bit with some water. And you bless it. That's be nice if you can bless your water. That's nice. It's very refreshing. And whatever you like to eat is in the, so it's like that. So anyway, water helps, and Epsom salt bath help, and earthing helps. Awareness of the situation helps. But this one was saying, oh my God, this is going to be a big one, and I'm not going to live through it, and I'm kind of worried, because last night it was a wave, and just now there was another one. It was a big one. And for her, we want to just explain that the circuits are pretty open, and so there's a lot of flow. Well, that's very nice. That's sort of the idea. Many have this kind of flow. She's not the only one. And for those who are open like that, well, you didn't get that overnight, did you? No, you did not. Like this one, you had dreams, you had meditations, you had things that perhaps you kept to yourself because you have more dignity. And so it is. Fine. You're ready. You're ready. So, here we are. And we'd like to bring your attention to something. Yes, the metaphor. Ooh, the metaphor. Is that of a prison? Well, we have used this metaphor for the dimensions because, and we've said, this lower consciousness is sticky and slow and imprisoning, haven't we? That of anger and fear and terror and counter-terror. Yeah, all of that is true. And we've talked about crystal cities and things like that, and sunshine. That's nice. And forest glens and things like that. Ooh, it's pretty. But we would like to remind you about something that is a bit perhaps more concrete, okay? That of your DNA. When we so metaphorically and beautifully and poetically and verbosely talk about these things, well, perhaps it's to limber you up for this. You each ride in what you would like to call maybe an egg or a beautiful thing of soup of DNA, which has a field, which creates a magnetic field. It does. And it works at certain gradients and percentages and things like that, and it's not so much that, it's other things, but whatever. It's capacities and things like that, and it has to do with many things. And there had been locks on the DNA. There had been locks on the DNA, and certain expressions had been locked with the chakras so that they could express in certain ways and find other ways impossible to express. And this was indeed the experiment that was just broken up. And this one's body was used to go, whee, let's go 100% everywhere. Let's have everyone feel everything. Let's let them have access to everything. And then she trotted off to the crystal cave and presented herself naked to the amethyst and said, here, this is what I figured out. This was part of her subversive ways. So if the fields are open and the chakras are open, and the energy is here, and not coded, it's keyed. And so, you understand the codes as you encounter them, because you have the keys in your hand. See, Lee? See how that works? Isn't that nice? Isn't it nice to come prepared? Yes. But let's bring it back to something you can understand. That this one can understand. And can appreciate, because it's more relevant to things. That's important. What if there is a light quotient that has been reached, as we have said, it's been reached, and it is quite clear between the video and the life that it has. And this is not exclusive, this is something that everyone has access to. And this happened about, a month ago? The light quotient has changed, it's been like this for 7 days or something like that was the message. And things were appreciably different after that. Alright, good. You've gotten limbered up. And there's an increase in information and light available through the photonic rays, the gamma. There's lots of things going on that, it's best not to go naming them, because it's a very crude way of looking at things, so we're not going to. It's heavily packed with codes, let's say that. But the codes you can't see with your eyeballs, you see with other things. Haven't we been saying that? You don't use your senses for this. You let it happen. And your DNA is given a talking to. And as long as you got the key in your hand, the DNA, which we said, consider this, everyone has 2-strand DNA. Didn't we say that? And if you have the keys in your hands, which we said, the hands are the working part of the DNA. They are the hands and the arms of the DNA. Telomeres are often thought of as this, aren't they? Yes, you think so? Okay. See how pretty that is? Oh, it's so pretty. We are running so much light. How much do you have to be afraid of? Your DNA, which is, fully capable of blazing at 100%. And we are not talking to this one. We are talking to you. Everyone on Earth. You don't come in with 75% of your DNA. You come in with an entirely 100% field. And whether you know how to switch it on or not, well, that's up to you. Your akash and your skill and your interest in your lesson. And this one is like, okay, well, let's put the gas on this. Let's hit the pedal. Well, okay, here we go. So, it's just, we remind you to go to that movie Lucy. It's kind of funny. As the professor talks about the changes. Well, it has to have a bad ending. We can't have people walking around being Einsteins. And building a happy society, they have to be destroyed. Better yet, since they are just so damn destructive, let them just destroy themselves. Oh, what a dark, dark tale. And so many guns and things like that. But Lucy goes boop, and the guns go away. You silly boys. One scene they all go whoop and rise up onto the hallway, floating in the air. Okay, so, does she use her skills for good or evil? And what is evil and what is good? When, these are the questions that might come up a little bit later. And so, if you have an increase in your DNA, well, Cryon talks a lot about that. It might behoove you to go listen. The ascended does the DNA, the new human being, the old soul. All of these things are very helpful, for they flesh out the characteristics of people who have gone through a DNA change. So let us talk a little bit about the physical stuff, okay? So I told you to drink water, and do it or not, it doesn't matter, but it's more pleasant. If you don't drink water, are you a bad person? Will you miss the ascension? That's a difficult question. Of course, you know the answer. Be nice to yourselves, we say. Because this one, has a lot of light running through her. Well, she had to start early, and so she started having these light experiences a long time ago, and having what she calls the vagal response. And the last one was only about a year ago, yes. And so, these things, she feels them coming on, and she doesn't like them very much because they're not very comfortable. And she knows that she is dying, and it's not very pleasant. And it was happening a lot, and she didn't like it. And so she always came back, so it was no big deal, but she still didn't like the feeling. And some of them were not very nice toward the end. They were very forceful, and they needed to be we needed to hit hard with some light for this was helpful. So the idea here is that, how much light have you had to contend with? How much change have you been willing to contend with? How willing have you been to alter and change as things have moved along? Have you paid attention? And where is your heart? In the end, where is your heart? The other stuff is all technical. It's technical. This one, a technician. Working with archetypes and doing that kind of thing. Beautiful. But there are those who found and dwelt within the beautiful emerald hearts for an entire lifetime. As those around them were rude and mean and awful. And this one screams and moans and yells and emotes. She puzzles and does not concur, does not agree. This is not right. I know what love is. I know what love is. I know what love is. God is love. God is love. Love is God. This argument. We say this is an argument each have with their God. It is not a new one. It is an old one. It is a good one to have. It's full, don't you think? And some are not as obsessive, perhaps, as ardent and as outspoken. But there you go. That's why you're watching. Doesn't mean that you don't have these qualities. And the lion-hearted like this, no matter how meek their position, how many so-called mistakes, how many horrible things they've done to others. How cool this one has been from time to time. How cool she could be seen, even now. Cool. But the heart that places love and apology Always apology. Always apology. What a pickle. What a pickle. Well, we have been explaining to her off and on. And we show you this koan because we know it will tickle you. You have your own. You have your own. This immovable area that you cannot go further. Well, because of the situation, this one encountered many who would push her a little bit, a little bit, a little bit, a big bit, a big bit, a little bit. And you know, with every new experience, you gain experience, you gain more perspective. These things are signs that there is an amperage increase. We've talked about DNA being this whole thing is based on amperage. Spin. And as within, so without, so all the way through. And it can be equated to magnetics. Okay, because that is the end result of this. There are telltale signs of the spin changing. And one is that DNA will increase in efficiency, connectedness, ability. And the light that is available is so heavily coded, so strong, so on time, so expected, that if one would like to have all the codes, they may. Because it will not just be their two little hands that have keys, but those first few compartments will blow off, and then poof, there they go. There they go. This is why we say, well, there are some things you just don't know until you know them. You think it gets easier the more functional you are? We would say yes. How important or how much of a priority would it be for you to do some of the things that you've been doing for a lifetime? Not very. And didn't we say that after the eclipse is very mathematical, almost? After the eclipse, there was a line, and there was a structure, there was a city and some poofy out, and then a line, and then a placeholder, and then which was like a null, and then the eclipse. And after the eclipse, there was a line, and then a city with lots and lots of growth, and then a little placeholder, and then pew, light, white light. Well, it's not a calendar. Perhaps we are describing a 5-minute block of time. We're not saying that's up for you to know. Your application of time is what matters, it's not up for us. The message behind that was that the way is lit up, and maybe you can't see it, but once you get there, it'll be clear, because it's just from a distance, it's very bright. It makes sense. And there's stuff to do in the meantime, and there's nothing to worry about, right? Right. So perhaps what we are describing could be that one of the effects will be even more of the neural connections. That makes sense. A resting period, maybe. And then, an area of familiarity, and then some changes. Perhaps this is saying that it's gentle, it's meant to be gentle. We don't want anyone rattled or worried. or expecting to have a heart attacks and stuff. It's not what this is about. We have been saying, what you bring back consciously may not be what you get energetically. And to not be too bummed about it. If you just took an eclipse, that's fine. I mean, your soul might be having a journey into the city of light, but you still have to drive your car back. Right? Right. So fear not and be of good cheer. But we do encourage the idea of everyone's child within turning fresh and new, and becomes a bit of a guiding verse. And who really wants to scold a child who is so innocent and beautiful? Think of yourself as a child before all the nonsense started. All the things you didn't like. Ugh. Think of it. Is it possible? Can you give yourself that freedom? And innocent. You remember, right? Imagine that. And imagine if everything had gone right for that one. Whether you are 6 or 60, we suggest you'd know what you needed. And what if there was a way now for you to provide that for yourself? And you just knew it was the right thing to do. And that was such a valued person. And you'll take better care now. You won't thwart that little one quite so much as scold or try to harm. And as you face out into the world, you know yourself to be a responsible person, responsible for something that is so valuable you can't really even talk about it, but that meets your heart and makes sure that you act with integrity and never put that one in danger. It seems to be from that place of innocence and love that you wish to speak to people now. You don't feel like pushing them around anymore. And you don't feel like being pushed around anymore. And so perhaps there is a time of adjustment. But we wish to remind you that it is it's an experience that everyone's going to live through. Okay? Okay. You're safe. We've been waiting for you. Welcome home. Fear not and be of good cheer. This is the day that the Lord has made. We wish to tell you the last video we did. We said something that we could not say before. And it was profoundly moving for us to be able to say it the last time we transmitted. We have waited a long time to be able to say it. We've had to wait a long time before it's true. And by saying it, acknowledging it, it was a good thing to have done. And so we say it now as a final blessing before we make a peanut butter jelly sandwiches. Yummy, yummy, yummy. It is a a sacred act to say these words in this particular situation. It acts as a switch, a permission. And someone needs to speak them, so let's go. There have been enough transitions and physical changes in this one's body to accommodate the light, and it will be gentle. The idea for everyone is to be gentle. No one is banging on your door saying, "Hey, there's some keys here." It is not like that. And you may wait lifetimes before standing up. Is this out of karma? Or is this out of coding? Is this out of a morphogenic field? Is it out of an agreement field? Is it out of a dimension? Is it out of a geometric, magnetic thing? Well, we have brought up each and every one of those. Aren't we clever? And they all kind of line up in a way, don't they? Well, we haven't put it together, but we're describing DNA. Ooh. So, anyway. And it is true what Brian has said. There is a certain, and we have explained too, there are certain membranes, and there's more than two. We've described two. We've shown another one, and now more are appreciated. And these are subtle, but they are still membranes. And you can call them DNA. You can call them dimensions or geometries or DNA or whatever. It doesn't really matter. But these are things that you just learn. And you are where you are, all right? And everyone gets a bump. That's the idea. Everyone gets a bump. And those who don't respond are not going to be very comfortable. That's all. And more, obviously, there's something wrong here. This isn't going to work out very good. Just, oh, does this mean there's going to be peace on Earth? Well, obviously not. But it's going to get easier. And so, yes, some people will be hit harder than others because some people have opened the doors already, right? There's empty rooms saying, "Okay, wait, I'm waiting. Come on, hit me with that ray. Hang out in my rooms." So it's like that kind of with a lot of people. And others are going to be having discussions with Bob. That's okay. So if you want to catch the coding, stay outside. Although, as we have said, it's very hard to keep out the sun. You gotta work pretty hard. Not a day to do that. Not a day. So live this day well. And understand that, your free will guides all. And if this is nothing that you are interested in, then there will be a change, but it may go harder. But it may just be something that you need to do incrementally. We'll see, right? You don't know. But there are going to be some changes. And those functioning very low, well, they get a bump too. Ooh. Now what do I do? Well, you get a bump and you know what to do, but you might be a little horrified first. That's kind of how it works. That's how it goes when you realize that you're responsible for everything. You take a look at the messes and go, "Oh, PU, this isn't good." When there's a whole thing you have to go through. There you are, deeply awake the last but a year. Go through it. Yeah, feel it, blah, blah. you get over it. Or you leapfrog. So we give leapfrogs too. Because a lot more than wrestling with shadow. A lot more. But that's part of this whole thing. And once you get beyond that, then there's lots and lots and lots and lots and lots. And the door kind of swings open and there you go. So that's why we say, if you're prepared, some people are going to be in their little rooms. And they are not going to even notice that it isn't locked right now. And others are going to stand up and push on the door and realize they're free. And then others are going to walk a little bit and see that the hands have some keys in them. 1, 2, gold. Ooh. And then there are going to be those, like we said, we're just going to take a deep breath and go right through the ray to home. And it's up to you how you wish to use this. It's up to you. And these are metaphors. Are we saying metaphors for functionality of DNA? Metaphors of spiritual completion? We like DNA best. And it is what the physical body and the storylines and the decisions tolerate. Doesn't that make sense? It's what free will says is going to happen. But it's big free will, not little free will. Which it sometimes is at great odds with what is necessary. What needs to happen and what is desired, well, there you go. So you have this innocent, each of you now, who you can be aware of. Consider it your heart. Consider it that emerald ray. Consider it your lion, your lioness. Better yet, a lion, a lioness, and a cub. These are beautiful images. And they will keep you feeling buoyant through any changes. Fear not, change is good. Don't complain. Acknowledge. This is an astoundingly different and weird time to be alive. And it's probably best to just ride out the weirdness as open as you can be. Weirdness is also called synchronicity. And you can request parameters. Make it big, make it obvious, make it funny, make it non-dangerous. Make it beyond question for me that I'm guided. And make me feel happy when I see it. Okay, go. You can do that for yourself. And it's funny how good things can get. There are many things yet to learn. Many things that others have done for a lifetime and can teach you about, as they are more able to travel here and there and spend their time wisely, giving of what they know. It's a good time to be alive. Yes, are we making prophecies? We are saying what is available. And, cynics very rarely get up from their poisonous pen. So we'll see how that goes. All right, with that we must go. We have an eclipse to attend. There are times when the totality and the reality of this experience. Resounds through the biology. This too comes in waves and has. This too you may encounter. When you realize each are not only capable, but they have a right to this, then your life begins to alter, as do the lives of those around you. There's nothing to fear here, and everything to celebrate. Sila. Oh, no, the blessing. Oh, the blessing. Oh, we built the energy up. Good, good, good. Here it is. Oh, you guys, you deserve it. You earned it. As within, so without. As without, so within. As above, so below. And as below, so above. The quotient was reached. There are enough who are ready, who are keen for this. It will spread like wildfire through the mechanics that Crayon discusses, and many questions will become understood, and many questions that surprise the questioner are yet to be posed. It's funny what happens when more connectivity comes online. All this work with the golden neural increase and that movement in the corpus callosum, that opening up. Bravo, good work. Welcome. Welcome to the next path. Sila.